Welcome, everybody. My name is Sally, and this is the beautiful Tina. Do you want to say hi, Tina?
Hi. I do.
I'm I'm from Australia, and Tina is from Croatia, and we are two hearts and souls that have been connecting for the last year. And we have created Vegan Soul Expansion, and it's a collaboration between the two of us where we intend to bring people together across the world who are vegan through a beautiful, nourishing, and nurturing heart connection. And this is something that we are going to be sharing with you over the next while. And tonight, our intention is to share our how we became vegan stories with you so that you can get a sense of our vegan beginnings. And so, our intention tonight is to share that with you and have a little conversation afterwards. And we really hope that you enjoy our stories and our sharing.
Yay.
So, Tina, is there anything you'd like to say to start?
Yes, I really am grateful for the technology because you said tonight and it's morning here
That's
on the
right.
other side of the world. So it's so sweet that we have no limit and we can connect whenever and however we want, except in physical form. But there is also something beautiful in that way of connecting, and it helped us, two of us, to really connect so much deeper in the last year through all of our almost weekly conversations. We almost are hooked on them. But throughout our conversations we both realized how important it is to have this real human connection, and how we are craving for this connection. And this is how we both met on a beautiful dance retreat in Bali in person. And actually that was why we created the Vegan Soul expansion, because in the future we will be craving this kind of connection more and more. And also specifically because both of us are vegans, we really want to explore together with other people what it means to be vegan soul in this world. I won't put any description to the world, the word world. But yes, let's explore together. Let's see both throughout these recordings and then in physical connection what is possible and what are the ways how we can go deeper, go beyond what is visible. And this is why we came to the word expansion, because we are here to expand, because we are limitless. And yeah, let's see what does it mean and how does it feel.
That's beautiful. And I love that because, we'll go into this more over time, but the idea of expansion for us came about because of that connection together when you are one person and then you're another person and you come together and you share all of these commonalities and you share all of these ideas and you discuss things for a whole year and it expands. It
Yes.
expands your heart, it expands your mind, it expands your imagination, it expands your energy. And, when two people come together and can expand and think beyond what is we already know or what we already feel, and we can add into each other's world, we do expand. And
Mm.
so our imagination comes alive with the possibility of more people joining together and expanding. And it's beyond what we know already because we don't know who's going to come in and add into the mix and what that
Mm.
will create. So it's a really exciting opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to be here and share this with you. So, Tina, would you like to share with us your vegan story? How did you become vegan?
Hmm. Okay. Mm. So first of all, I changed my diet into vegan diet, plant-based diet when I was 18, while I was a student. And at that moment, it felt like I probably did it because of the way how I wanted my body to feel, but it didn't last long. Um, actually did 5 years. It was 5 years, I remember that. And I was always also very much aware of the environment and how the world is changing, and I always wanted to somehow contribute to the world and just having this beautiful planet in the most healthy condition as possible and seeing how I can contribute. But then my real change started when I was 39, when I discovered the book about raw food, and it actually started with me with the food, not the whole vegan concept, which came later. I will share a little bit about, but there were really big health issues in my life. I had very high cholesterol levels. I was fatigued. My menstrual cycle was between 17 to 20 days. And I also had ovary tumor, which was really big, and I was in a huge pain basically all of the time. And my mom died when she was 51, and there was this deep fear. It started as a fear of me just, yeah, ending the way she ended. And the book about raw food came to my life, where this lady was basically swearing that it's like a secret magic wand that no one knows about. And I was thinking, wow, this lady is either a very good promoter or she's really keeping like a big secret, like there is something. So this is how it started, as a curiosity basically. And very, very soon after that, I became a raw food blogger. I gifted myself a blog about raw foods for my 40th birthday. And I ended up having 4,000 people in so far in the last 14 years that I just share the love for plant-based food with. And very soon the food started making not just health changes. All these things that I mentioned went into normal soon after that. The ovary tumor, I did have a surgery. I will be open here about that, but that's another story. Doesn't matter. Just so you don't think that it also
Mm.
changed that part. But the changes that started were much on a much deeper level. So somehow I started understanding that animals being food to people is energetically just so wrong. I remember there was one day when I was walking home from the farmer's market, and I was holding two like bags in two hands, and in one bag there was fish, and in other hand I had some veggies and fruits. And there was like this sudden understanding and knowing, and I know that this is something that plants brought to me as an information was, wow, this is death, this is fear, this is just the scream of like ending of life, and this is alive, this is what how actually we as humans evolved. I won't go deeper into that, but I just wanted to share how it was a real embodied understanding that there is something very, very wrong about eating dead animals. And this is something that I was always throughout my work curious about, how people are raised into society where basically we never ask ourselves how can we eat something that we have as pets. And I know that plants were my medicine to basically open up this understanding and this deep just law of nature, how things work and how things are, because we can survive from plants only, which is obvious. I'm now 53 and I'm healthy, happy. My body is super active, and I'm really grateful that I am eating plants. And there were so many other things that opened up with eating plants, and they are mostly connected with my deep inner transformation, where I finally understood that I was part of a really big disconnection concept, where I was always running and chasing success in business. I was a professionally stockbroker when I was really very young. I was 24 when I was a stockbroker. I was running international companies. Then I was for 20 years in the finance market, and I was basically just falling apart because I was deeply disconnected. So the plant kingdom and saving the animals really brought me into deeper connection with myself, but also with nature and with other people. I could go deeper, but I think maybe that's enough.
That's really beautiful. That's really beautiful. Yeah.
Thank
It's a
you.
really beautiful story and a beautiful journey. And I love how it's opened up this deeper connection with the earth and with yourself and with other people. And yeah, that really moved me. So thank you for
Mm,
sharing
thank
that journey. It's
you.
beautiful. Mm.
Mm. And you, what's your life story about how did you become vegan?
So I grew up on a small property in the bush, and so I spent a lot of my childhood outside. My mum would open up the back door and we'd just go out and play in the bush until it was time to come back for lunch. And
Mhm.
she'd hose us off and then we'd come back in and then we'd get changed into new clothes and we'd go out and jump around in the creek and we'd go across and play in the wetlands. And, I used to play with leaves and sticks and everything as my kind of toys. And I loved it. I was really connected with nature, connected with the different trees. And I used to find old bottles that were underneath the ground, underneath the trees. And I just loved exploring nature and being connected. And I felt really connected to animals as well. And living on a small hobby farm meant that we had animals on the property and we would give them names and then they would be killed for food.
Mm.
And I always found that really hard, really upsetting. And I didn't like eating a lot of meat or any animal products. So I would get upset and refuse to eat certain foods. And I'd only eat foods that didn't look anything like it had come from an animal. So it had to be like, processed or, I'm not going to go into those details because it's a vegan space, but you get what I mean. And so I was the kind of kid that would eat the vegetables first on the plate and leave the meat. And it got kind of to a point when I was about 10 where I started refusing more and more to eat certain things. And so I feel like it was in me from birth, maybe, that it was just part of who I am to not do that. But because I grew up in a very heavy meat society, it felt like I was conditioned into this. And it was just everywhere I went, and it would be weird to not eat it. And so it kind of became just a normal thing to eat meat, but I would avoid particular things as much as I could. And I remember meeting some vegans when I was in my 20s, and I thought they were weird because I didn't understand how they could not eat cheese because I always loved cheese. That was the one thing I really loved. And it's one thing I often hear vegans say, how can you live without eating cheese? And I related to that because that was my experience too. But when I was in my 20s, I did a lot of traveling and I traveled overseas to South America. And I remember traveling a lot and eating lots of meat and also experiencing a lot of the deforestation that was happening, which also happens here for farmland. And I remember feeling affected by that accumulated exposure to that over my lifetime. And I got to America and I was traveling through America with a friend of mine who's Canadian. And we got to New Orleans and I donated some money to this charity on the street, and she said, you can choose a book out of this selection of books. And there was a book on vegetarianism. And so I selected that book and I started reading that book. And within days, I said, I'm going to be vegetarian. It was just this moment where it felt like it all aligned. And I made that choice really, really quickly. And I think it was partly because I was away from my home environment. I was away from all of the kind of brainwashing, and I'd had this new experience of being out across the world, and it felt like I could reinvent myself.
Mm.
And when I got this book in my hand, it felt like a sign. It felt like a sign from the universe. This is my time. And so I started to become vegetarian in when I went back to Canada with my friend. And then I moved to the UK not long after. And I started researching more about vegetarianism because I wanted to connect with some vegetarians in the UK. And that's when I read about the dairy industry. And as soon as I read about the dairy industry, I made the decision on the spot that I would become vegan. So the transition was kind of maybe only a couple of weeks from being meat eater to vegetarian to veganism. And I struggled a little bit in the first few months of that because I was visiting people and they were cooking foods that I liked, and it was really challenging. But after a couple of, false starts that were very short-lived false starts, I made the commitment to be vegan for life. And so it's now been 16 years that I've been vegan, and it just extends into every area of my life. And I feel that the connection that I have with myself is so much stronger because I'm living my truth that I've known since I was a child. And even though it can, bring up a lot of things around me in my spaces, I feel that the big achievement is sticking true to my values, and the journey that I've gone on to get to this point of 16 years of being vegan is one of pure joy and connection and love for animals and love for the earth. And I'm so grateful for the all of the beautiful plants that I get to enjoy on a regular basis. And like you, I feel that energy. I feel that energy that comes from plants, and I feel the energy that comes from eating meat, and being around that energy is something that affects me a lot. And so I've had to work a lot to support myself to live in this largely non-vegan world with a beautiful attitude and a beautiful heart. And that's why I'm super excited about our connection and what we're creating here, because I really want to lean into that heart connected side of the way that we live. I want to lean into that expansion of our hearts that we experience and have already experienced through being vegan and being connected with animals and connected with the natural kingdom. And so I'm really excited about what this is going to create together. And I guess I never thought that when I got that book in New Orleans and read that book about vegetarianism, that I'd be sitting here 16 years later, starting a project with someone on the other side of the world to expand our vegan soul. But it feels like all of those things that I've gone through have led to that beautiful moment of connection with you. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen beyond that.
Mm. Thank you so much for your story, and I'm really glad that there was a book on your side also that changed everything. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. I hear you. It's almost like we were born with that knowing, deep knowing, but maybe we
Mm.
just needed to be activated, like to find that
Mm.
switch that helped us see our truth with ease when we were ready for it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And while you were sharing, there was a topic or a question that raised
A
a
rose.
rose
Yeah.
for our next video. So maybe you can also tell me if that's resonating with you. It is about talking about how does it feel to be and to live in this world that is meat eating world. The majority of people are eating meat. How does it feel to be vegan in this world? And what are the obstacles and how do
Mm,
we navigate them. I'm sure that many people will be interested in hearing that
mm,
because it's always good to hear from other people and find tips and tricks because it's not always easy and it becomes easier.
hmm
But yeah, maybe some people are at the beginning, or maybe some people are still struggling with that. Not all the time, but maybe in different situations. I don't know. We spoke earlier, you and I, so many times about going to a restaurant and having
mm,
mostly these social moments. How do we navigate them?
mm. It's a really important topic. And, I remember last time we were sharing, I was talking about, one of the challenges, I suppose, of being someone, if you're someone who doesn't have that confidence to express your veganism or to ask the question about does it have this in it and does it have that in it and to explain because often people don't know what it means and it does require a level of courage to be vegan and to speak up and to say actually I can't eat that and sometimes it requires a lot of questioning and it requires finding out more information and the attention is on you and so I think it's such a great topic to talk about
Mm,
because
mhm,
there's ways and we've talked about this before ways to empower yourself in that and ways that you can not get caught up in that energy of the world and what's happening and how people are reacting and responding to you. There is a way to be able to hold and contain yourself in a way that you stay in your truth and you stay
mhm.
in your connection with yourself because it can be disconnecting with other people. And so we need to learn to be connected with ourselves and stay connected with ourselves in those moments because that's really, really important to be able to stay on the path.
Yes, that's true. And also, what I find that is the most important, besides what you just mentioned, is to express ourselves in a way that it doesn't cause any resentment on the other side, but really saying it from the heart in a loving way and noticing how does that change the response. Because
Mm,
I mean, I'm sure also we were in so many situations where it was not like that. So nowadays, I actually don't remember when it was the last time when it created some friction or like
mm,
resentment. So it would be really nice to talk about that deeper, and also
mm.
all the practical tips and tricks, the ways how to speak.
Can I share something really funny just
Yeah.
quickly? It just popped into my head. It's such a funny story. I just remember this time I went to a restaurant with some friends in their home country. I was visiting them and they had checked the menu and said that there was things that I would be able to eat, which was beautiful. And then we got there and everything I asked for, they said, "Oh no, we cooked that with butter." And my friends would say, like, "Can't you cook it with olive oil?" And they said, "Oh no, we couldn't possibly do that." Well, this thing is cooked this way or whatever it was. They had some animal product that was going into it that didn't need to be in it. And they were like, "Well, can't you just steam that or can't you just do this?" And they're like, "No, no, 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 no." Anyway, so in the end, it was just the salad, which is so often what we end up with. And so they were apologizing to me, and I said, "It's fine, it's all good." Anyway, the salad came out, and it was just this big rectangle plate with lettuce and then a cherry tomato in each corner. That was it.
That was it.
And my friends were so upset, really upset. And I couldn't stop laughing. And they were like, "What are you laughing at?" I'm like, "It's just, what can you do? It's hilarious." And it was expensive too. It was an expensive restaurant. And they were so proud of themselves. Like they'd come up with amazing, this beautifully presented dish. And I was
Yeah.
just laughing. And they felt so bad. They're all eating these beautiful meals. And I'm sitting there eating lettuce and a couple of cherry tomatoes.
I have also
Um,
have like a really fresh story from last night when after beach I went with my kids to have like a drink, and I ordered iced coffee, and I said please decaf because it was like later in the day, and plant-based milk. Okay, and there the lady is coming with like a big glass, and on top there is an ice cream. And on top of the ice cream, there is like a cream. I don't even know how to measure. Like there was like this much drink and this much of the rest, and it was also like beautifully, like presented with like cacao drops on top, blah blah blah. I was like, okay. And my kids were actually more annoyed by the fact that the waiter didn't understand that if I
Mm.
order plant-based milk and I order it, we go there every day, that there must be a reason for that. And maybe checking in and asking. But yeah, we'll talk about that next time. More.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about the energy that both you and I have around this, which is
Yeah.
the really important part of vegan soul expansion, is the energy that we hold around this, the way that we hold ourselves in these moments. So I'm super excited to be able to bring that topic next time.
Yeah.
And beyond, we will have many other topics that we'll explore.
Yeah.
And if anyone watching this has topics that they would love us to talk about, you're most welcome to be in touch. We'll put some contact details with this video so that you can contact us and let us know if there's things that you would love us to talk about.
Yeah, and share your stories about how you became vegan. Let's
Mm.
let's share our experiences and let's connect. Let's start creating beautiful community, because I truly, truly believe and am committed to the idea and like my inner desire to be part of a community that is heart connected. So it's
Mm.
two of us already, so let's expand.
Let's expand this,
Thank
vegan
you,
souls,
Sal.
beautiful vegan souls. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you,
And
everybody. See you next
yeah, from
time.
my heart to yours. We'll see you next
And
time.
I would like to say big thank you to the universe who brought Sally and me together, that we recognized each other and that we spontaneously are chatting for the last year on a regular basis about so many things, about life, about deep, deep topics that are also life changing, and that this beautiful, spontaneous connection came to this project of vegan soul expansion, which we really want to nourish and water and see where it goes and how it grows. But it is a pure creation of our hearts. And I am putting the intention of this interview and the whole series of interviews and videos that we are going to be creating, that it comes from the connection of our hearts. We are opening our hearts towards the people who are ready to receive the words from our hearts and the transmissions that we are ready to share with the world. Hmm.
Beautiful. Tina, I'm wondering what's your favorite color?
What's my favorite color?
Mm.
Hmm. I saw you in green, and I actually know it's green because it's been following me for a really long time. And when I look at my Instagram profile, there is always something green around me.
Yeah.
And yours?
Mine is purple.
Purple.
I mean, I love all the colors, but purple's one that really excites me. But I also really love green too. I'm wearing green right now.
Yeah.
Um, but I ask you because I think it's nice to imagine these beautiful chords of beautiful colors flowing between us. So perhaps we can imagine a beautiful green chord and a beautiful purple chord between us that we send through our hearts to each other, send love, send messages when we're together, but also when we're apart from each other. And yeah, to have that as a reminder of that heart connection. So it's not just an idea, it's an embodied experience that we have together.
Beautiful, yes. I see it.
Mm. Mm.
Kim. Hmm.
Beautiful.
Ay, ay, ay.
Ay, ay, ay.
Ah,
I've got to adjust my eyes now. All right. Shall we get started?
yeah, it's happening.
It's on.
It's on.